let us talk about the future now, about the two countries. Since the pandemic, we are now facing a new normal lifestyle. We see ourselves constantly afraid of meeting people, of crowds, living in a crowded environment, urban lifestyle that we used to admire and like so much. Now we tend to look at untact, kind of not facing people, not meeting people. So untact kind of occasions are taking place, even in education, even in medicine, even in cultural areas like concerts, exhibitions, all kinds of things. Now, and you feel like you're isolated because you fear of getting the so-called the virus through meeting people or contact with people. So you tend to not meet people, and therefore you feel this isolation and the loneliness through that. So what kind of a future is that? And in a way, that changes everything. But at the same time, you also see technology, advancement of technology as a result of that, where you see progress in new areas like artificial intelligence, IT, ICT also plays a very big part. And in those areas, I think Finland is very much advancing very rapidly, and I think Korea is also working very hard in terms of that as well. Now, but we are also facing a similar situation in terms of low birth rate, and therefore, as a result of that, reduction of workforces, and that has a tremendous effect on population and also the reduction of industry. So in those terms, in your business as well as in our countries, what future do you see, and what kind of improvement can we make in order to change this kind of negative situation into a positive situation? What would you recommend?
That's a really hard question.
Yes,
if I have the answer, probably
you would be,
I would be a millionaire.
You would be a millionaire, and you would be the president of Finland, or
whatever.
Advisor of the president of Korea.
We need to have
Cheers.
a cheers for that first. That's in a cloud.
It is in a cloud, but
it's in a cloud, and it's in a fog.
Yes.
Actually, to see forward into that. But of course, yeah, if you look at the movies, that you have the cars driving by itself, and okay, how much unemployed people there would be if you don't have truck drivers, everybody moving by itself. So that means that you have to make, there will be a revolution maybe between the people who have and who doesn't have, or except if you have a strict control that you make the classes actually again. Now I am just coming up with imagination.
Yes.
Actually,
We are in the clouds.
Free imagination, not really thinking too much. But once you ask the impossible question,
Well, the Scotch will make us imagine
no,
more.
this is Irish.
Yes. And Irish, they imagine a lot, so it's good for
Right. So I'm thinking if you think about those. Those imaginary things, now the robots are dancing, they're keeping the balance, and you combine the things, they're fighting the wars and things like that. So what the people needs to do, they can relax and they can enjoy. But the question is, who can do that enjoyment? Can you divide let's say the privilege to all the people? Or is it only the ones who have the money and who control the companies now who can do that, and the rest will be a second-hand people? So if I ask now, suddenly answer that question, I feel things like that. How can you have the society develop in a way that you see now? If you have the AI and you have the automation take over, you have free driving cars, you have the automated deliveries. How many truck drivers, bus drivers and taxi drivers there is? If you don't need them anymore, how many people will be unemployed? What will they do? What's the next job? Yes, there is needed more programmers, there is needed more people to whatever doing, but still you can automate too many things. So the people have a possibility, you enjoy. But who will enjoy? The ones who have the money now, or the ones who doesn't have the money? Can you share the wellness to everybody? I think that will be one of the questions if you talk about the future that comes to mind now. Is there a revolution like the Industrial Revolution? You had the slaves and you had the people, you had money and somebody worked and somebody not. But now if work is reduced, then what you give to the others? I feel something suddenly comes up, something like that, with the support of this Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
But if we look at more close, yeah, it's really in the fog. But of course, it means that you have maybe caring job, you care about people, you have still you need the cleaning, you need. Now some people who had a prestigious job, I read a story in Finland about some prestigious, was it an opera singer or something? He lost all his job and he said, I found my real thing what I want to do. I am doing now cleaning for different houses and I enjoy the job. I have the perfect methods and it's matter of having the right tools, the right equipment and to see the result of my hand when I clean the house. And I'm actually going to people's house to clean. And I used to be an opera singer, a famous one. And now I feel that that's my respected job. I will sing sometimes, if it's possible in the future, but I like to clean the houses. And it was a very prestigious singer in Finland who said like that. But it's what you think, what is valued job. It's a matter of that, and which job will exist. Okay, maybe you can automate also some part of that job, but still a lot of different kind of job titles will disappear and some others will come in. And then the matter is, can you respect them? Is there enough things and what can you automate and what you cannot? So anyhow, I think there will be a division of new things and you have to find the new job, because otherwise population is reducing. Okay, you don't need, maybe you don't have jobs for everybody. Is it good that population reduce? Should you be worried about it? But keep a certain level, even it's reducing. If you don't have job, why do you have people? Because some people think, oh, future there is no job for everybody. Why should I have children? Because, okay, it's also the causing the trouble to the world. You create more CO2 and things like that when there is more people. Already world has a lot of people. So, but the most people are now in third countries. The question, how do you share the things between the countries who do not have and who have? It's a little bit similar. Well, it's maybe partly between the left and right, or it's maybe between the revolution of peoples in the 100 years ago, when you had slaves or you had the subordinates who were just working there. So maybe something like that will come in the future when there is a big change of things, and it's a question of who have and who do not have. I think.
Yes. When we look at the question of, as you say, advanced countries and underdeveloped countries, and you look at so-called the advanced countries, and most of the advanced countries are having problems in terms of birth rates, population growth, and you have the underdeveloped countries who has rapidly population growth. And then, of course, in terms of economic growth, advanced countries have most of the economic growth happening there. But here you have population, but in terms of economic wealth, you have least economic wealth. So you have the inequality.
Inequality,
Yes. Imbalance. And as you say, how can you share that? Whereas either side, you would say, why do we share that? I mean, we made this, we earned this, why should we give it to them? And then those who have less would say, you have exploited us. You should share with us, because it's only fair that we should get some, because we have been exploited by you.
Yeah, that's a fundamental question of the society, I think. Not society, but of the global situation. So the question is, well, we have the religions. Well, before the religions used to be supporting the rulers, I think, and I think still the religion is supporting, because you believe in certain things. You said Japan, well, you had Hirohito, he was like a god. So, you believe in. So I think the thing is to unite. Maybe we need a common enemy, to find somebody somewhere in the galaxy. There is an enemy who is attacking us. Maybe it could unite us. Or anyhow, we are humankind with the people in Africa, or with the people in South America, or people in Indonesia, or people in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea. We are still the human race. But we have the identity of people. But the question is, how can we accommodate that? But one of the ways, of course, we have now a lot of the refugees. Finland is taking certain part of refugees. Europe is in trouble. Well, trouble in some sense, because from Africa all the people wants to come to Europe. It's a huge problem. People over Mediterraneans are sunken. They think in the Mediterranean because Europe cannot take them all. Or, well, the governments do not want, or the people cannot take. The huge people from Africa wants to come to Europe. I don't know, Southeast Asia, and here is maybe not that big issue, or to Korea it's not so much, but still the foreign population is growing, so we are getting more. Yeah, I think Korea is also having the issue, because you take the certain labor here from third countries, maybe not so much from Africa, from India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Indonesia, Malaysia, not Malaysia, maybe Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar, those countries. They want to come here. You have a different principles for them. In Europe, you don't. If you accept the people, well, yes, don't and no. But like Finland, if they accept people, they give all the same privilege for everybody. You cannot work with a cheaper salary than is allowed legally. So it's an issue. So you cannot take, because you get the same benefit. If you don't have work, you can live with the unemployment benefit. So it's a kind of a question: do you accept double standard, or do you accept the same level of things? And how can you unite the global world? It's not an easy issue. So it's a fundamental issue, but I think it's one of the key issues. Religion is one part of it, I think, and some rulers we have the world divided by the religion. We have the Christian, we have the Buddhism, we have the Islam. How can we still, my feeling is we have one God. I don't know if it's the same God for the Muslims or same God for the Buddhism. I don't know. But
it may be the same God, but the people who practice it doesn't seem to think that way. They seem to think in their own terms, and they become enemies because of that. The God may be the same, but the people that worship are not the same. They become enemies. The thing is, we divide each other, we divide the God, although the God may be one, but we divide it between the people.
And that rulers made partly that, I think.
For political reasons.
Yes, partly.
For that reason, and maybe some other as well, Korea is one of the most rapidly aging society in the world. Rapidly aging society. And our population is decreasing rapidly. I mean, this is the first year, last year, 2020 was the first year that the population has decreased. And although the government is spending enormous amount of money and nothing has happened to improve the situation. Finland is also doing many things in order to change the situation, but it's not working as well. Do you think there is a solution? Do you think there is a way of changing this situation? Or do you think that people have changed so much in a way that marriage and having children is fundamentally something is no longer fashionable, that people do not want to have children or a family because they don't want to sacrifice their lives. They want to enjoy their personal ambition, their personal life in order to express themselves better, and they don't want to be kind of responsible. Do you think there is any way possible for that to change anymore? I mean, in the older days, I mean, a generation ago, it was only natural to have a family when you reach a certain age, to get married, to have a family. It was natural. It was something that you do. No one second thought about that. But nowadays, it's natural not to get married.
Yeah. Well, marriage is one thing, like we talked a little bit before. Okay, there is ways not being married and still have a family, but that's related to government. But marriage is related to religion, I think, more, and the laws of before. But married or not, I think that's not the key issue. I think the key issue is my feeling is that is the possibility to live, to have a work, because you don't be on a farm anymore. People don't get their living from the farm. In the before, okay, you had a farm, you make the rice and you can live on it. But these days, people consider you need to have a job to be able to live and then to have a family. So I think they are interrelated to each other in some sense. That to have a living, you need to have a job. And if you are not sure that you can have a job, your family, you're okay. Still, women don't have a similar opportunity maybe they have more opportunity in Korea as well. Finland also, women have a possibility. Also, Korea has applied father's leave and so on for children. So there is ways to promote that. But I think the key issue to have the trust for having a job and making a living, I think that's one of the dangers that people feel. And it's not the thing that they don't want to have family. I feel when I talk to people feel they want to have a child, they want to have a family. It's still in the genes. I think it's in the people's genes. Maybe some people want to just enjoy and think like that, but I think many people still think, if I cannot survive, if I cannot take care of it, if I don't have a job, how can I take care of a family? Because I cannot rely on my farm, on my non-pot anymore. I have to have a job to take care of my family. I think that's a big issue on that, because there is no safety for the future. I think that's one of the big issues in the people's mind for not having family. I talked to my employees before, and some people, they feel that there has to be some safety for the living.
I understand Korea, because of its lack of welfare safety net and all this. We have in Korea a very weak welfare system still, in terms of we have a lot of old age poverty. Whereas in Finland, you have relatively very good welfare system where you have a system that provides for old age security.
Yeah, it's not only a matter of old age. Of course, we have also the unemployment security. But the people feel that to live on unemployed security is kind of a, you feel like you cannot take care of the thing. You want independence still. So people have pride. If you live on unemployment, you are considered like, you cannot survive. You are not capable of handling your family. So it's also a matter of pride, I think, in that sense, because people want to have their own life, not to rely on the social security. Okay, some people maybe live on that, but they already lost the hope. But most of people still wants to make their living and wants to have the pride of being responsible of their family. But if you then have to rely on the security and you cannot see the future that you do it by your own hands, that loses also the possibility, because everybody doesn't want to, everybody do not want to live on the social security only.
In Finland?
Yeah. For instance, me, I feel if I should live on that, I feel that I should die, because I have a pride for that. Why should I go to beg for the money from the government? I should be able to do my work to earn my money for my family or myself. And if I don't have trust for that, yes, there is security, yes, in some cases. That's kind of a, let's say, the backup. But if you don't see the future for yourself, that affects your mind and your belief also to raise your family.
Well, you're still capable, you're still working.
yeah, right. So should I have more children?
Yeah. But you're not in Finland.
No, I'm here, yes. But one of the things that I like Korea more is because I feel that I should report everything to the unemployment office and things like that. And I feel really that I feel that I should have independence on my own things, not to rely on that, because I really feel pride for that. Oh, should I be on social security or something happens? I feel, unfortunately, I don't feel like that the government controls that kind of matter. I think there should be opportunities for people to do themselves.
But Finland is a country that, because of the, you don't have a lot of people. I mean, 5.5 million. You have a lot of available. If you have the ability, if you have the application ability, you have opportunities, do you not?
Oh yes, we have. Of course, in Finland also we have opportunities. So of course, with the new innovative things and new innovative companies, there's a lot of startups with a lot of innovative ideas. And I think one of your questions were earlier that how to combine those. I think we need more interaction, and there is more possibility to work together with Koreans. So there is only very few. I know only, okay, there is the big companies, Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Kia, that have their branches and very successful in Finland as well, like everywhere in the world. But then on the other SMC size, small and medium-sized corporations, there is not much relation. There is two companies. The Tongha Group has a paper factory, a special film factory to make some films in Finland, and now other mold factory is going to make a joint venture in Finland to conquer European market. I think there's a lot of more possibility to work in the SME, the small and medium-sized corporations to Finland is part of EU and work with Finland with a certain technology and combine with Korea and conquer the world. Well, there's much more potential.
Yeah. You have a lot of experience in the 90s of bringing Finnish companies into Korea. Why don't you do it the reverse way now?
Yeah, I would be happy to do that.
To take Korean small companies into Europe?
Yeah, well, the one question is, Well, Europe, yes, because in Finland is too small country to bring only to Finland, but Finland can be a base. Finland could be a base for Korean company together to conquer Europe as well, combined. And there is potential, I'm sure. So I understand now one of the companies related to molds, for instance, they are strong in Korea. They have a company in Finland, similar field, who has markets open there, and they join forces. I think it will be a success story.
Molds?
Mold.
Mold.
For car, for instance, car industry.
Mold. Okay.
Car, you have a lot of plastic molds or a lot of the designs in doors and some other areas. So that's one area. I think they will be successful. But also there is definitely potential in other areas. I'd be happy to do that if people wants to. So now I feel that the Finnish companies are taken over, the technology taken over by Chinese, because they are very active in Finland.
Chinese?
Yes,
companies.
and they are getting the Finnish level. So I really hope that Koreans would be more active, and I'm willing to support anybody who wants to have a partner in Finland to conquer European market. I know a lot of people, a lot of companies in Finland. I know some in Korea, but if somebody interested, I'm ready to support them.
In which area?
Any area.
Oh, okay.
Any area.
All right. If there are companies that I hear of that may be interested
I
in
will
that,
support.
I will
I know a
certainly-
lot of people in Finland still, even I stay in Korea for 31 years. But I have been following the Finnish technology development, and of course some of the related IT itself or programs, they are also related to the system or the I feel that Korea and Finnish ITs have similar things, but then there is the language matter.
Yes.
So Finnish developed things, Korean developed things, and it's related to certain foundations. So it's not easy with the software, I feel. But there is also other technology. You produce so many things in Korea. You produce few things in Finland. But I think there will be potential. Definitely there will be. I'm willing to support that trend.
Okay. What about some healthcare things?
In healthcare areas, Finnish have their system. Of course, in healthcare areas, you have European. Finland is part of EU. So anything that is in Finland or anything in Korea that you bring to Finland should meet the European standard. And then Finland is too small market to target only Finland. So it has to be towards whole Europe. Because then when you have approvals for certain healthcare things, or even medicines or certain things, Finland is too small market as such. It should be covering all Europe.
Yes, certainly, yes.
Yeah, and it can go through Finland. Finland has a good benefits also for small and medium companies. In certain areas, if you develop a company, you can have a lot of benefits. So to setting a base in Finland for a Korean company for European market, it could be a good choice.
Is Korean popular culture doing some?
Korea is not yet too popular in Finland. Okay, there is K-pop and there is the younger generation. There's a lot of people actually who enjoy K-pop, and there is about 200 or almost 300 exchange students in Korea from Finland. It's not much compared to US or some other countries, but still there is the exchange of cultures, the exchange of ideas. So the new generation in next 5 to 10 years, there's be a lot of more connections between Finland and Korea, I'm sure, in different levels. But of course, in business-wise, maybe they all do not be in business. So in business-wise, I think even now there is much more opportunity which are not explored at the moment.
You are still the president for the Finland and Korea Chamber of Commerce here.
Yes, right. So, but our chamber is mainly networking, or we are keeping the relation between the mainly Korean companies who represent Finnish companies.
Korean companies representing Finnish companies.
Yeah, or the subsidiaries of Finnish companies here who are run by Korea. So there is very few Finns running the company anymore, because most of the Finnish companies selected the Korean branch manager or Korean subsidiary CEO or so on. But still, yes, they are.
How many companies?
Well, okay. In our chamber we have about 40 members.
40 members.
But there is much more Finnish companies represented here because they are represented maybe by some company who represent a lot of different items, not only one item. But 40 is, they are including the branches. Nokia has a branch, Wärtsilä has a branch, Fibox has a branch. Okay, it used to be, once I introduced to you before the history of Finland, Finland was strong in B2B. In the 80s, maybe the first successful B2C was Xyliton.
Yes.
Hyvä, hyvä.
Hyvä, hyvä.
And then these days, the traditional business continues in the B2B. But of course, these days there is more B2C things related. It's related to design, it's related to food and beverage, it's related to consumables. There is certain more things on that area, but those have been covered, like design maybe from Italy, maybe the consumables from US, or food products, Australia, meat from US and Canada, the Australia, like that. So Finland is a newcomer in several of those areas. But there is potential also in those areas from import to Finland, from Finland to Korea. But then Korean export to Europe, exporting to Finland only is possible, but you need to meet the European requirements. So once you meet them, actually you should export to all of the Europe. And then there is the bigger countries who is handling that. It doesn't go through Finland because Finland is just 5.5 million. You have in France, 50, 60 million, Germany, some 60 million. And those country people handle those because they have the market already there. But Finland could be a base for co-manufacturing or co-design or things like that. And I think there is many potential. We just have to explore it more.
Yes.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
Once we have a more relation, exchanges and things like that, you find new things.
Lastly, which is the village where Santa Claus comes from?
Well, actually, it's a Korvatunturi.
Well, that's a mouthful. Korvatunturi?
Korvatunturi, it's just a mountain. He has a small hut over there.
Korvatunturi.
Korvatunturi, it's the air mountain.
So
he can hear from there everywhere where there is good children.
Korvatunturi.
Yeah, but
so, well, Christmas is gone, but for maybe next Christmas. Korvatunturi. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you for coming, and thank you for all your good conversation, and thank you for your whiskey.
I hope you enjoy it. It's for you, the rest of it as well.
Wow, that is really a treat. This is a great present. I never tasted single malt, peated single malt Irish whiskey before.
Yeah, it's Irish.
Thanks very much. So we'll do this again sometime, huh?
Yeah, if there is new ideas. Well, we lost talking about Korean unification.
Yes, next time we'll talk about...
I don't express to you my key idea behind that because that is still left out. It's for the next time.
I would love to hear it, but as you say, it has to be bipartisan in order to achieve the goal.
Yes. So I don't want to tell if we first we need to actually agree on bipartisanism. Then we can talk about my goal because before that, it's useless to talk about my idea.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you. Ranta, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.